Okay, that only took a second. Bella needs to learn how to play nice with the rest of the kitties. And she really just doesn't know how to play nice with the rest of the kitties. Okay, so I put artist on the top of my page. Anyways, I'm trying to get my head around that. What else am I? And try to stay away from I am a wife. I am a mom. I am a kitty owner. I am a homeowner. I am a caregiver for my son, at least. Those are all external things. So I don't know what I'm going to do if I can't remember what in the world I was thinking for this prompt. This is why I wish I had done this live, because now I could maybe get ideas from you guys, and maybe I could, you know, remember what the heck I was thinking if I got some feedback. But now it's just me sitting here trying to give myself my own feedback. But I did think of something here. I'm kind of a toddler. Okay, so I'm going to write that down too, and I'm going to explain it a little bit. And I'm going to put it in quotation marks because obviously I am not a toddler. I'm a little big and graying for toddlerhood. Here's the thing, is that there are certain things that I am trying to learn how to do that I never really learned how to do when you're younger, even toddlerhood, like how to play with your toys and then why it's really important to put them away when you're done. You know, so cats don't eat them and steal them and throw them away, and so that they don't get broken, and so you know where they are next time, and so messes don't just keep getting bigger and bigger. So those are things I should have learned at a very young age, but I didn't, and now my desk suffers often from that. So I laughingly say that I'm a toddler learning how to properly play with my toys. I am also a always learner. I'm going to put an exclamation point by this one. So I must be getting off the ground of thinking what in the world it is. What am I trying to say about who am I, right? So, an always learner. I always like to find new things and find a deeper understanding, and I can't think of other things right now. Tonight is going to be a little bit of a challenge. So here's what I'm saying though, is that I often get told that I come on really strong, that I sound pretty arrogant, and that I always sound like I'm right. I don't feel that way at all. I have never been able to understand why I come on like a tank, or why people think I need to be the boss, or that I always think I'm right. Nope. False bravado, maybe? I don't know. That's probably not accurate either, but I feel far less secure than people seem to think I do. Miles different. And I actually always assume I'm wrong. Even when I state things as a fact, it's because that's the way I know them currently. I completely, 100% understand that there are so many things I just don't understand. And here's something else. I learned this from my grandmother. She said, the older she gets, the more she knows she doesn't know anything. I get that. I would like to know how many of you get that. leave a comment. Yeah, because when you're really young, you are really confident, right? That whole, the world's not going to hurt me stuff, that's pretty real in young people. I have known for a long time that my grandma was right, and I have felt it more and more ever since I realized she was right. That the world, the universe, people, communities, every single thing is so complex. You can't put people in little boxes and on a list and compartmentalize a lot of the time, because everything is just way bigger than you think it is. In some ways, it's also way smaller than you think it is. Either way, it's so hard to get your feet on the ground when you realize how many variables there are to every little aspect of every little thing. So, with that in mind, I do not intend to sound the way I sound. Maybe someday I'll learn what people are talking about and learn to do it different, but I always tell people I doubt it because I've been doing it this long and I still don't understand. But I am always a learner. Always trying to learn the world, always trying to learn other people, always trying to learn myself. I highly recommend that everybody always be an always learner. Just should always open your brain, open your mind to stuff, right? Try to grasp other people's reality besides your own. Not only is it good to be kind and understanding to other people, but it helps you reach further understanding of yourself at the same time. I'm going to go back to some flowers because I don't know what's going to be next. So think internally, who are you right now? I am an artist. I am a learner. I am supposed to be letting this go off the page and I'm not. Silly girl. I am adaptive. Is that a thing that I am? I am adaptive. Okay, so one of the things that's really hard to do is to give yourself compliments. I recommend that all of you that follow along with me, make sure that you give yourself some compliments in here. And I'm going to give myself one right now. I am who are you right now? So I'm going to say a resourceful person. Who am I right now? If I'm going to think of a positive thing that I am and give myself credit for being resourceful, which I really am, if I could own a skill that I have, I think that that is a skill that I have. I was going to call it adaptive, which is kind of the same thought process, but I'm just resourceful. Yeah. But I'm going to add a negative thing too, because I don't want this to just be some fluff piece, right? I'm supposed to be being real here. Absolute scatterbrain. Like, I want to call it something other than scatterbrain, because part of the scatterbrain stuff is part of my chronic illness, and I don't want to be too difficult with myself on that, but I do want to be a little difficult with myself on follow through. I don't follow through with stuff. I intend to. I volunteer for too much. I'll do too much. I just, it's ridiculous. Shoot. Hold on, Malik. Here. So what do I want to call it? I'm going to add a flower while I think about it. And I only have one more. Okay. Do I want to call it impulsive? I don't know what I want to call this, because it really is something that negatively affects my life, is that I jump from one thing to another too often. I make commitments that I can't keep, and then I disappoint people, and then I feel like garbage, and then I get depressed, and that's never a good thing, right? What else do I do? I want to, who am I? I set myself up to fail rather than succeed. What does that mean about who I am? I am self-destructive, not in a physical way. Okay, funny story. See the scars on my arm? It's terrible. The only reason I'm showing you is because I had somebody once who thought I was self-harming. Not that self-harming's funny. No. The idea of me self-harming is funny because I am afraid of ow. And I may have a lot of stuff going on. That's not one of my things. If it's one of your things, no way do I think it's funny. I understand it, I've seen it, and I know what a painful experience it is, and that causes it. So I'm sorry if I sound flippant, I don't mean to, but just the idea of somebody saying that that was me was absolutely ridiculous. So self-destructive, self-harm is not it. I set myself up for failure. I think I'm just going to write it out that way because I don't know how to say it any different. I'll just say someone who sets up my own failures. I'm learning to get over that. Not only am I learning to get over the fact that I call them failures and learning to get over the fact that it's something I do and just be nice to myself about it, but then I'm learning to not do it anymore. So this is a workshop about living with chronic illness. So the things that I've written so far are some things that I'm on just in my journey in life, and those are good things to put in here because chronic illness will affect everything that you are. Positive and negative things that make up who you are, chronic illness will affect them. But I also want to write down a couple of things about who I am right now in the chronic illness journey. I'm an always learner. That is part of the chronic illness journey, because medical information changes and ideas change, and you can't know every option there is in the whole wide world. So you will always run into new things. Always. Always. In case you can't tell, this is my little cuddle bug. This right here. This is Malik. He's my cuddle bug. He likes to come in here and let me rock him every night. Okay, so anyways, in my chronic illness, what am I? I don't know again. So I'm going to move on to the next part of our Zentangle while I think about it. Get up, Mr. Malik. Now that I have my petals on my flowers of all of those first set, I'm going to go in and put in another set in between the other ones. At least on the top and bottom. If they run into each other, like what's happening right here, just go ahead and pick up your pencil or your pen and put it back down where it would come out, like that. Oh, wait, it looks like they're overlapping. It's very cool. Whoops. I missed my mark on that one. Okay. Now I'm going to flip my book upside down, and I'm going to do this some more on the bottom. So I'm going to put one more, I'm going to tuck one right here, and then I'm going to put this one kind of in the middle, and look at this one's super tight together. So I'm actually going to put this circle out here, coming out of one of the flowers. Okay, it's time for Malik to go. Come on, buddy. I apologize, but I don't know that I'm ever going to be able to stop that, because winter time in Minnesota is setting in, and the cats are all becoming so needy now that they can't go outside. They are so unhappy with my behavior. They seem to think I should be able to control the weather on their behalf. Now, I'll show you how you do this one right here. So I'm going to go out as if there were a line here. Oh, I could have gone in more. It doesn't matter if you go in more than I did, but it's still just the same thing. You're just going to go around and into your starting point until you can't do it anymore. I'm going to keep doing this. So I will keep working on this and keep talking. Let's talk about I keep saying critical. Chronic health issue me. What am I? Who am I? Definitely an always learner. Oh, I know one that's important, and one that we all need to be and learn to be: a self-advocate. If you don't get answers you want, if you don't get treated the way you want, if you don't get, I don't know, if you just aren't happy with your care, or if you have a new need or a new concern or anything, learn to self-advocate, because You never know when, you never know when you're going to have to. If you're less able to communicate verbally because of whatever your chronic condition might be, like anxieties, or if you actually have a hard time speaking, or if you do and don't know sign language and aren't around someone else who knows sign language, whatever, think of other ways to self-advocate. Think of ways to communicate your needs clearly, right? And acknowledge that there are ways to communicate that are not, there are ways to self-advocate that do not require you to speak if you can't. So don't think that you can't. Write notes. If you don't know how to write and you can't write, get whoever you communicate with to write things down for you, and you just have that on you, right? I mean, I don't even know what else, but whatever the problem is, there are ways to fix it so that you can self-advocate. So maybe this is enough for now. Maybe this is enough. I'm going to think about these particular things for myself and what they mean. The good, the bad, the developmental, the ugly, and the hard for me to acknowledge. Hard for me to acknowledge. This sets myself up for my own failures. Part of this is an inability to accept the limitations of my physical condition. I'm glad I kept talking. The more I talk, the more it starts to make sense. I hope that this also, my rambling on, helps you start to think of things in another way and helps you to start triggering your brain to do things. So just for a few more minutes here, I'm going to show you where this Zentangle is heading. And then we're going to go over my list and finish up today's prompt. Whoops. I went right through a flower. I didn't mean to go through a petal. So I meant to do this, right? I want to put this much heavier on the bottom of the frame than I had it on the top of the frame. This was my intent all along. But if you just have a line across your page, vertical or horizontal, whichever way you decided to do this, right? You can also build. Just put a circle on one of your petals. Choose a direction to go out from and do the same exact thing. I did mention that at some point I'm going to introduce some Zentangle equipment. It's just certain pens and pencils that you can get if you want to down the line, and it will make these very simple patterns that I'm showing right now into the most beautiful things. And no, I'm not giving myself credit for something beautiful, because I'll tell you what, this Zentangle stuff, once I started looking into it, first of all, a lot of these patterns are stupid easy. Second, I'm doing it really sloppy. And I'm doing it really sloppy for a couple of reasons. Number one, because I don't want to sit and fuss about this, right? It's supposed to be relaxing and free your mind, and it's definitely doing that for me. I was not kidding that I could not remember what I meant by think internal, but just posing the question and doing the Zentangle to turn my brain off from the day and onto the question at hand really seems to be working for me. Now I forgot where I was going. Oh, I got lost. Oh, the reason it's such a mess, the other reason it's such a mess, and I'm not fussing over it, is because when you do your first drawing of all of these things and then you do the next steps, it's when it starts to look really fancy. And making it look really fancy and like you really did something that was difficult and in depth and oh my gosh, you must be so talented to be able to pull that off. You won't believe how easy it is. So I have a plan moving ahead that we're going to learn these easy Zentangles all through the beginning of this workshop. And then later on, I'm actually going to move into some finishing off stuff and show you how easy it is to look like you're just the fanciest Zentangler ever. Okay, so one of the things coming up is the last thing I'm going to do on here. Go in between, like, I'll pull this even closer. Oh, I can't. Here, wait. Oh, that's all the farther my cord will go on my camera. Okay, see this space between two flower petals and my original squiggle line is a little tiny triangle right here. And I'm just going to color that little tiny space in. There's another one right here. There's a kind of a bigger one right here. There's a itty bitty one right here. So little I can't even make the pen go in it. Oh, and there's my head in the way. And here's another little one right here. I'm going to go all the way around the frame and fill in these little air pockets. This is one of the ways that Zentangles, even the messiest ones, end up being just fine. Let me just back this camera out a tiny bit because I did actually pull it as far as it could be pulled. That was not good. Don't break your stuff, lady. This has got a really long, skinny space, and I don't like it, but it'll turn out fine, I swear. Okay, so in conclusion, Zentangle is going to take us places. It is helping my brain switch from life to workshop practice. I hope that it helps yours, because I'm not doing this just to be frivolous, right? I'm doing it because I feel the value. I was a little shocked at the meditative practice qualities of Zentangles, because it's not hard to do, right? Which I've said like 50 times in a row now. I apologize. But it does require your brain to turn off and pay attention. It is so good for you to do that, to just find a way to turn off for a while. So if I can help you turn off for a while by doing these silly little doodles, that's the goal here. Okay. That's the goal. Turn off from the real world. Start thinking about our workshop questions. Get rid of the stress of the regular old day. And we're all going to feel like accomplished artists and insightful, in control self-advocates when the workshop is done. I'm sure that will be the case. All right, so now you see I'm just going around that original line one more time and giving it some weight. So all of my little flowers are anchored, more anchored. If you want to, and I'm deciding if I want to, because I don't want this video to get too terribly long. Let's see where it's at. Okay, actually this is a good length. I can do a tiny bit, but I'll show you what would be the next thing. Is those air pockets underneath are also in here. So I would come in and fill those air pockets in too, also. And sometimes you might fill them in with a Zentangle design, right? Someday maybe I'll show you how to do that, but I don't personally care for it very much. But I do like darkening the background. So I'm going to do this really quick before we say goodbye and show you why I like doing this, and maybe you will do it too. And if you don't want to do it, then don't. It's okay. So again, I'm just giving weight and definition, right, to all of the little flowers that we put in, giving them something to be anchored to. Is that all? I think that's it. No. Well, I don't know exactly. I think that's a petal in there, and I think I messed up a petal, so I think I'm going to color it in. That's one of the fun things about Zentangle. There are no mistakes. There's no mistakes in Zentangle, just opportunities. So if you think you did something that makes a mistake, just turn it into something else. It's okay. I think that's all the anchoring I got. Here's something I did forget though. And I guess I didn't forget it technically because it's actually not on my example, but here's something else I like to do. So if you like to do this, go right ahead. Go inside each little petal and just do a little flick and a dot. And a flick and a dot. That's very similar to what we did last time, I think. Is it? I did a flick and a dot in all my petals last time too. You know why? Because I like them. There we go. I'm only going to do these top flowers. One more. Top flowers. Okay, that's it. There we go. There is our Zentangle for today. I'm not giving the names of the Zentangle because I am not an official Zentangle teacher. That's a thing, certified Zentangle teachers. I am not one, so I don't know that what I'm doing is the right thing in the right way. I'm just demonstrating a little practice for us for the brain switching properties. That's it. So if you are more interested in Zentangle than what I'm doing here with you, go ahead and look up Zentangle teachers on YouTube. There are bunches. And when I remember to do so, I will actually link the ones I learned from, so that you can look into it further if you wish. All right. What did we learn today? We learned that I need to acknowledge that I am an artist. I don't know what makes you qualify as an artist, and I don't know if I qualify. I acknowledge that I am a toddler in that I am learning some really, really basic things in life, and I'm allowing myself to do that. Play with all my toys, make a big mess, and then understand why I should clean up my messes. I am an always learner, and I encourage you to be an always learner. It's just so flippin' important to be an always learner. I am a resourceful person. It's an acknowledgement of something that I do really well. I make do with what I have. I make differences with what I have. Yeah, I like that about myself. Okay, I owned it. I am someone who sets up my own failures. I do. By being so chaotic, by not accepting my limitations of my physical condition, by making promises I know that I can't keep, even though my heart is in the right place. I really wish I could follow through with everything I wish I could follow through with, but I can't. Okay. And I am a self-advocate. And I need to remember that, and I need to remember to be that, and so should you. 2 things I highly recommend. Always be a learner. Always self-advocate. Find a way to do so. All right, that's the end for this week. Sorry I hit my camera a bunch of times. And tune in next week for week number 3 of Zebra Talks. In the meantime, take care of yourself. Be kind to yourself. All of that good stuff, because we all matter, right? And we're all learning. Okay, good night.